Hello and welcome. My name is Ella Mukerji, lead of nitrogen fertilizers and ammonia at S&P Global Commodity Insights. I'm joined here today with Esben Baltzer Nielsen, head of sales and business development at Stiesdal Hydrogen. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. Can you tell me a little bit about your company and where it fits in the hydrogen value chain?
Yeah, so we're very modular. We have a very modular approach. It comes from our legacy in the wind sector. So the way we say it is that we want to build electrolyzers and hydrogen plants the way you build a wind farm. So you build the wind turbine in modular pieces, all prefabricated, minimizing work on site. So the minute those modules leave the factory floor, they're actually done. You just need to put them together at site, and that's the same approach we have to the electrolyzer, and that we have thought into the design of the electrolyzer from the beginning. So that's kind of been a prerequisite for how we design it, because we think that is the way to get the cost down on the plant and ultimately get the cost down on green hydrogen. So that's very much how we set ourselves apart.
That's so interesting. So it sounds like you're using tried and tested methodologies from, historical wind approaches and leveraging it here, which is very interesting. You also touched on cost. So there's a general conception out there that, European technologies are having to compete against more cost competitive electrolyzers, let's say, from places like China. How are you overcoming those challenges?
Well, we do it by being modular, and so fundamentally, what you've seen from the wind sector and also the PV sector is a cost out curve that's been incredible over the years. And you can ask yourself the question: how did that happen? When one thing the way it happened was that they had a modular approach, so you repeated the same unit again and again and again, and then you get better. Both at producing it and deploying it, and then you cost. That's one part of costing out, and then there's also some elements of, for example, from the beginning we designed our electrolyzer to stand outdoor, so not having any buildings. When you have buildings, you have ATEX zones, you have HVAC systems, you need gas detection. It all stacks up the cost, right? So we thought we'll just design our way out of having that, and in that way we've also, with our electrolyzer design, we're enabling our customers to develop a balance of plant and ultimately a total plant cost that is very attractive. And when you're talking about China, I think China has some great technologies, and they are a very innovative country, and there's some innovative also alkaline OEMs over there that we look towards when we need to see what are we competing against now and in the future. And but we also think that we have to look at what is the total plant cost of deploying a Chinese electrolyzer in Europe, and there, with some of the design elements that we have taken, then we think we can be on par at least, or even more competitive price wise than the Chinese. So I think you need to, of course. If you look at deploying in China, it will be a different story. But deploying a Chinese technology in Europe and then comparing it to ours, I think that's where you should look at, and there we are confident that we are competitive.
Interesting. Yeah, you're talking about having to look at things from a delivered, kind of built perspective rather than just at face value. So I think that's definitely something that we need to be talking about more. You mentioned your customers a couple of minutes ago. Which regions in the world do you really have your eye on for product adoption?
Yeah. So at the moment we're doing direct sales in Europe, and in Europe I think what we're looking at is, of course, two factors really. You want to see where's the demand. Central Europe in industry in Germany and so on. That's where you have the demand, and that's also where we would expect that. Then, I mean, the key also at this conference, key word has been offtake, right? Where's the offtake? When does the offtake agreements get signed, and therefore when is the project reaching final investment decision? production, and the whole ball is rolling from there, right? And Germany is just really important there. It's not the most obvious country to produce hydrogen in when you look at the power prices, but I think you can also find pockets there if you have the right PPAs. And then, so that's one factor, the offtake. Where is that? Germany has a lot of signal value, and we're also waiting for the implementation of REDIII directive, which is really what is going to drive the offtake, right? So I think that implementation in Germany has a huge signal value for the whole industry. And then we're also looking at then of course another factor is the power prices. Where do you see the cheapest green electricity, right? And it's definitely the most mature markets. Is in Europe is I've been Spain and Portugal, and so that's a market that we have a very strong eye on, and also. That's a market where you would expect to have a fluctuating production, because you have fluctuating power prices and you have a lot of PV power, and our plant is perfect for that. We have an alkaline system which is dynamic. It's a misconception that alkaline cannot be dynamic. We've developed and it's proven that it can. And then another part, you can go north Sweden, North Norway, North Finland. You have very attractive power prices, and those bid regions in the power market is already qualifying as for the RFNBO via the 90% renewable in the grid. So I think that there it's also interesting markets for us. That of course opens some new. You need to be able to be operating and surviving. That's the most important part. In -40, I think is where we're looking at, and then back to our design. We have from the beginning thought. We'll make an electrolyzer that is equipped to stand outdoor. We have a cold climate package, which is a few adjustments to a basic design that's already been equipped to stand outdoors. So we are also competing in that market with a cold climate adaptation of our technology.
That's so interesting, and I really enjoyed how you kind of broke down Europe into different sections and talked about all of the considerations there. So I appreciate you doing that. You also touched on a couple of things, which leads me to my next question. You mentioned REDIII and RNFBO. A big topic of conversation has obviously been in the uncertain and, maybe a little bit volatile regulatory landscape of Europe. How is this affecting you, and what are you doing to kind of stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah, but it is definitely, I think it's affecting the industry, because what it does is, well, the fact that it's not really implemented in a lot of member states, it means that there's uncertainty, and uncertainty is poison for any investment, right? So I think we need to, what I would be saying is like just get it implemented, and we would of course hope that more countries would implement it in an ambitious way than an unambitious way. But there is a minimum, right, that needs to be implemented, and that's the clarity that we need now, and that's also why Germany is so important, because it sets the bar, so to speak, for the industry, for us, the concrete consequence of that uncertainty is that it's very difficult to predict the volumes. I mean, if you are talking about 1 million tons of produced green hydrogen in 2030, I mean, you can get a zillion numbers, right? And that's just not good for us. We need to start seeing some volumes coming into the market. We need to see more projects getting final investment decisions, and we have many projects where we have conditional contracts that are waiting for FIDs, right? And those FIDs, the projects are lined up, the technology due diligence has been done. The last piece in that puzzle is the offtake agreements, right? And that's not going to happen until there's clarity on the REDIII.
Yeah, I think you said it really succinctly and nicely when you said uncertainty is poison. And that's definitely been something that's really been discussed here. I would just like to take a second and really say thank you for stopping in and speaking with us today. So I'd just like to thank you all for watching here at World Hydrogen Week in Copenhagen. Thank you so much.